Welcome to Bad Luck Good Game. My name is Gravity Groove. I am your host, and occasionally I have time to do the thing. Today is one of those rare days where I have time to do the thing. So we're going to try to do the thing. I don't know why re-rolling these always seems to give you more gold, but... so Alchemy is a thing now. And while we are not really drafting anymore because this set is garbage and we're going to wait for Kamigawa, we do have a decent amount of wild cards that we have saved up from fairly successfully drafting and completing most of the sets, as well as a decent chunk of packs left from when we were drafting to try to complete the set. And we did have already most of the cards, really, we would need for most of the Alchemy decks that I thought were passable, but I'm not really investing in Alchemy. The idea of it is interesting, and I do like more potential building tools, but it didn't really pan out the way it was suggested to pan out, even a little, and the meta is largely the same as it was in Standard, just you have to now spend more money to participate in it. So it was a scam, folks. It was always going to be a scam. Wizards, just like every corporation, they just want your money. They don't want your respect, love. They just want money. That's just how it works. We have a variety of alchemy concepts here. We have werewolfers, which there are. There's the mythic werewolf, which, you know, if you have a Rada, I would definitely run it in this. But I'm not spending 4 mythic wild cards for an alchemy card that can be changed tomorrow, and you don't get anything back for it. If you're willing to do that, you know, more power to you. But I just don't trust them as far as I can throw them. Like, this is a cool card. It's not worth 4 rares. I don't know what it's going to be tomorrow. This is a great card. Is it worth 4 mythics? Probably. Is it going to be in 2 weeks? Who the fuck knows? Like, if I was confident that this would not, you know, be mangled and that I would not be refunded, I would buy it. Hell, if I even had a guarantee that if they make any changes, any card in any format, whether it's a ban or a revision, they offered you to refund those cards and just, you know, take the cards back and give you the wild cards back, then I would build with reckless abandon. But that's not what we've been offered. We've been offered, and that's not even from Epiphany Wizards. Also, by the way, they still just haven't done the obvious thing and fucking banned Epiphany. They started a whole new format rather than fix Standard. They started a whole new format, folks. Oh, guys, there's a little bit of mold in my home, just a little bit. One of the corners to one of the doors is moldy. I've decided I'm going to burn it down and build a new one. Does that sound good? Does that sound fucking sensible to you? Okay, sorry. This is my version of werewolves without buying all of the bullshit. Our top end is obviously you could use the new Alchemy werewolf again. If you wanted to blow cards on it, it's just basically the same. Where is it? Basically the same as Uvenwold Oddity, just not Alpha. Alpha is interesting. It was the hasty one. Lupine Harbingers. It's a 4/4 trample haste for 4. Hey, what do you... Oh, and it's only 1 green instead of 2, so strictly better, easier to cast than the 2-color deck. And if you foretell it, for whatever weird reason, you can just wait and then throw an XX haste trample creature at your opponent's face whenever you want. I don't know how useful that mode is in all actuality, because by the time you get to that level of mana, like, your control opponent has already locked you out of the game, and they can counter it, and yada yada yada. That mode seems useless. So this is the same fucking thing, and I don't have to spend more cards to fuck with it. Caretaker, I think I had one from draft, so, like, just gonna throw it in here because Caretaker seems like an absolute beating. Same with Volatile Arsonist. It's another menace creature, and we do need haste and menace creatures to try to run our opponent down, or they do their big control the Gandalf bullshit, which is really, really punishing in this format. You have your standard suite of manlands. We did have to spend a few wild cards to buy the dual lands we were missing from Vow, because we haven't completed Vow. And Packsong Pup. And I don't know if this card is good. It might be too slow. Tenacious Pup is the only thing from Alchemy we put in here because it's uncommons, and that's fine. Flame Blessed Bolt is just okay. I don't know if we'd rather this just be for Abrades. I don't know yet. Most of the stuff isn't really tested yet. It's just like first runs thrown together. We have Brittle Blast, Magic Missile, and Choose Your Weapons, and Tangle Trap against the Dragon deck, which is very popular. We have Cinderclasm against the Mono Black Sacrifice deck and the similar decks that go wide. We have Burning Hands against fellow green decks. A little bit of Artifact hate here. The mostly keys lately is what we're seeing, and the Dominator Orbs, the Dragon Kind Orbs. And just a couple other creatures in a control matchup, because we just need a little more threat density, so we're probably just getting rid of the Flame Blessed Bolts, throwing in the Moon Veils, and the... That's one potential deck we've got. We've also got Dargans, which I think there's a lot of variations of Dargans at the moment. There is a Jund one, there is a strict Rakdos one that's using the Imastern Predator, is one of their Dargans. And there's a mono red one. We have tried a Boros one, and technically, Nadar is a dragon, folks. It's kind of interesting. It's a decent creature. It's a creature that draws sort of a half card if it just gets cast and dies, and if you get to attack more with it, it's decent. Well, reduces the cost of that too. Got Valorous Stances to try to kill some big fat boys. We've got Dragon's Fires because Jargon's deck. We have an additional Thundering Rebuke in here because I like removal more than most other people. I don't know if it's correct. I just want more removal in everything. Our sideboard has Portable Hole, a Flame Blessed Bolt, another Stance, and a Braid, Cinderclasm, some Control Hate cards here, 2 Cinderclasms, another Thundering Rebuke, and more control cards, anti-control cards we could bring in here. Single Brittle Blast. This kills the Edgar nicely. I feel like maybe we should have 2 Brittle Blasts somewhere in our 75. Currently we have 1. But I have not seen a ton of things I need to exile yet. It's also worth considering putting the Exile Artifact in the sideboard. If we're going to see so much of the Leer type decks, if you can exile their graveyard, then the Leer deck doesn't really do a heck of a lot. So we might start putting a couple Lantern of the Lost in every sideboard if that deck becomes super popular in Alchemy. I don't know if it is yet, but it's a powerful enough deck that it's definitely going to be tier 1, and you're going to want to have some kind of reason to do it. And this does that, and cantrips, and draws you a card. Their Leer doesn't really do much if it can't recast infinite bullshit spells that they discount. So that's Dargans. We've got this deck that has, well, it's kind of 2-drop soup, really. We don't have 4 Scourges, and it seems like a silly card to spend wild cards on. So we're just playing the 2 we have. This is definitely an aggro deck with a lot less removal than I would normally run in Rakdos. We have Infernal Grasp and Play with Fires as our primary removal. We've got Null Priest because they're good early and good late. Scourge, which is only really good in the middle or late. Tainted because it blocks everything and attacks through everything. There's allowed me to get a lot of Florian triggers, honestly, because people don't want to block it. Cemetery Gatekeeper is here only because I don't have that Werewolf Mythic that I think is strictly better than this. But they're both first strike, and I found some value in that. I also considered Dragonkin Berserker for the first strike stat line alone, but ultimately I liked the Null Priest a little better in the late game. It doesn't have to attack to do its thing, whereas the Dragonkin has to attack to boast. We have a couple Thundering Rebukes in here to bring our removal options up to 8. We have some more haste. We have our giant Flying Daddy and our other giant Flying Daddy, and the standard Panoply of Lands. We have a sideboard that's a bit of a mess. A lot of these sideboards are still being tested. We have only one Abrade, probably want 2 in the sideboard somewhere. A couple Rave Enfeeblements for mono white, which we're not seeing a lot of. These might end up being dead cards. Power Word Kills against the other big creature decks, and a Brittle Blast, and Go Blanks, along with the Break Expectations. Again, for the leader decks, the control decks. We also have a single Callous Blood Mage in here to act as our Graveyard Exile thing, but with the Go Blanks, I don't know if we want this. Probably don't want this. Go Blank kind of does it a little better. The fact that this is either or, though, like you can draw a card with it. If you are in the clear matchup, you can draw a card with it before there's a graveyard to get rid of. Whereas the Go Blank doesn't do as much early. Maybe we just make this another Abrade, have more artifact hate. Because we are seeing artifacts worth hating in the format right now. Or we throw in one of those big, cannot be countered red Dargans. Our land count might be a little too low. Hope for casting that ever, though. We've got 20 real lands, 4 and 2 spell lands, so 26 possible lands. Add another Braid for now. We'll think about it. We'll add a Brad. And Giants. Actually, I have one more deck that just does not seem like it wants to work, even though I want it to work. Giants has been kind of fun. It's definitely a pile in progress. We have a lot of card draw here between Glimpse and Expressive. We have this new Giant, which gives all Giants in play and in your hand Ward 1, which can be a lot of fun, actually. We have Agar, which makes all of our removal spells kind of extra tasty. A Calamity Bearer, which can kind of close out games out of nowhere sometimes, often making our Quakebringer trigger hit for 4, and our opponents tend to be very confused by that. Squashes, because dealing 6 damage for mana is fucking awesome. And your standard Panoply of Lands. Our sideboard has a Lantern for Malevolent Hermits and a Hullbreaker Horrors to battle the control opponents, and a panoply of different removal options. I've enjoyed this deck, but there might be too much draw in the main. It might be correct to perhaps cut these down to 3 and 3 and add like an additional piece of removal and an additional threat. For a little threat light here, as you can see. 14 creatures. But what other good Giants are there? Any other real playable Giants? Not really, huh? Bergstrider is not a playable Giant. No. An Amulet? Yeah. Land Elementalist? Doesn't seem very good. Gull Charger is interesting. Our deck does use a lot of its mana, though. I don't know that we have the mana to keep throwing this thing out. Could just throw in another Calamity Bearer. It's pretty reasonable. Probably the best Giant we have access to. Can't cast that, but interesting that it has any Giant text at all. I was originally running a couple Battle of Frost and Fires in the sideboard, but it just felt too slow most of the time. And I figured the Cinderclasms would just be better. Maybe we just want to cut one of these draw spells for Calamity Bearer. I don't hate that. They're both pretty good. I mean, Iteration is drawing me 2 cards for 2 mana most of the time. Glimpse is always drawing me 2 cards for 3 mana. And occasionally, I mean, we're getting to dig deeper. It's also easier to cast. I don't necessarily need 2 colors of mana. I'm going to cut 1 Iteration for 1 Calamity Bearer. Have a little more threat density. The Calamity Bearer effect does stack, by the way, if you were curious. So you can get multiple triggers. Let's try that one. Try the Calamity Bearer deck. Alchemy. Giants. Oh, I need to put an A in front of this too, because Alchemy deck. We'll give a best of 3 a shot. I've not played a ton of Alchemy to this point, but I've played a little. Mono white deck seems really, really broken. The new Inquisitor Captain card is just nuts. The Izzet deck is just as obnoxious as ever, if not more obnoxious. There's a mono black deck that's really powerful and kind of difficult to defeat. Kind of picks you down like one little blink at a time. It's very Aristocrats-like, but just not 2 colors. Surprisingly hard to interact with that one. Several Gandalf-y decks that are built around Key to the City and various shenanigans. We could have foretold the Quakebringer there, but I figure I should have removal up for this. So we've got Boros Dragons. Bolt the bird, as they say. I guess we'll leave Fading Hope up. Drawing a little too much land. Gonna need squash when the Dargans start coming down. There's 7 card advantage spells. Need to start hitting them. There you go. That's another land. Gonna do this. Try to get him to dead. Uh-huh. Goodbye. And yeah, why not? Die and stomp Dargans. So Dargans brings in Thundering Rebuke and the 2 Brittle Blasts. Kill the 4 and 5 toughness butts. Fading Hope is... Fading Hope's still good. If they're like our Dragons deck, then they are probably using the 3/3 dragon that's not a dragon, so we probably want to leave in a couple of these deal 3s. Not very excited by Fading Hope, and I can just kill stuff. Like, permanently solve the problem rather than temporarily solve the problem. Get rid of another piece of card advantage because we're on the draw, and their tempo is going to be kind of fast. Play with fire to kill the, I guess we'll just leave in the pyre. The spike field, all these to potentially kill the whelp in response. We have 2 thunderings, 2 brittles, and 4 squashes. Deal with the big boys, and we have 3 glimpses and 3 expressives to potentially draw back up. We also have Agar, which theoretically is card advantage. Theoretically. Seems decent. So because he's going before us, we've got no response to Whelp. Oh, no Whelp here. That's pretty good for us. I think we're just casting this. Want land, or do we want the Abrade? We probably just need a land here, right? Take the land. Chandra. Okay. Did not expect that.
Great at dispelling darkness. A blazing inferno. Let's bring things up to a simmer.
I want to kill Chandra with this. It is giving him a mana. Yeah, I don't really want to use Brittle Blast this way, but...
Aw, party's over.
Need to cut his mana down. I'm gonna play the Rhyme first because this will give us ward. Because removal spell is more expensive. Dang it. Well, there's a problem. Guess we are gonna play the Quakebringer. We'd rather the Agar survive to squash and get us a card. Got all the removal on us. Here we go. We're not sacrificing it this turn, but probably will next turn. In case we want another red. Not what we wanted for Christmas. Flooding a little bit here. Need some more squashes and removals. Need them quick, too. Here we go. These are legendary. This. Hoping this just doesn't have a bunch of Goldspan dragons. Oof, that's pretty bad too. You do have the technology. Ooh. Okay. Not expect that. We don't run Brutal in our 75. Ow. Okay. The Calamity Bearer will make our Quakebringer in the graveyard deal 4. Back that and go digging. It's a really close one. Any of our card advantage cards would be pretty great here. Another Dragon's Fire? Is that all 4? Yep, that's all 4. Holy shit, man. Head draws. Fuck! That flips. Damn. So you're dead then? Giants versus Dragons. The matchup is old as time. It was actually kind of fun. SaffronOlive? Really? Seriously? Oh no. Oh. Okay. Hi, SaffronOlive. We can't keep this. I do hope we get to have one good game. Yeah, it's keepable. No idea to know what we're up against. We'll just bin the most expensive thing. We'll play this and then Hall of the Storm Giants next turn. I wonder if they're recording. Or this is just casual fun. This is another card that's great that we just don't want to pay the Alchemy tax for. Cave of the Frost Dargon. So we're in Gandalf territory, right? This is obviously some kind of Doomscar, Key to the City, all that shenanigans kind of deck. Well, we got land. Uh-huh. It's a SaffronOlive deck, so it's going to try to win in the most obnoxious trolly way possible. That's kind of his thing. Key demo. No offense, but that's your key demo. Some people are very into that. I'm not. I find it really depressing. Get our 3 in. And Dig? Or do we play out our Agar into the board wipe? I guess we do both, right? Yep. Conjure a random creature card from opponent's library into your hand. interesting. Oh, I needed another blue. But should have played that on blue and not red. Whenever you cast an inner sorcery, targets one or more permanents, you can a copy of one of the permanent. Spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard a card. I've never seen this card before. What is it? Yeah. I can really do. So he's just trying to win with like approach and stuff like that from the key then. I have to assume that's what's going on. So he's going to have discover the formula in here too. Yeah, wow, this is just maximum trolley, man. Holy cow. I don't know that we have any realistic way to beat a pile of cards like this, being that we're mid-range. I think we're just like 100% dead. Realistically. That's cool too. That is really interesting. We're definitely approaching peak random. We have a squash in hand. Oh, we just need all of our threats, right? So we're bringing our hermits and our hull breakers. See if that helps at all. I really don't know if it will. Crack? Black. Yep. Seems good. Calamity Bearer. Prince. Another key to the archives. Like the spell list for this thing is insane. Like almost every spell in it is just totally insane. Yep. That was the plan. That was the plan all along. Duration. We don't have 2 blue. Whoops. Let's do this. The Rhine Wall. Scar. Oh, wow. Yep. Nothing we can do to beat that, man. Bring in our Hermits. Bring in our Hull Breakers. Bring out our... Fading Hope do anything in this matchup? Like, all their cards need to be removed. And we don't want them to recast them. I don't think Fading Hope does much in this matchup. Squash is fine. Got a couple Pyres. Leaves us Squash and a Braid, and Squash and a Braid is our removal. I want a Brittle Blast. Seems okay. Card draw is probably pretty important here. Got a couple Quakebringers for the Hullbreaker Horrors, I guess. Maybe Brittle doesn't do enough. Kind of what you'd expect out of a SaffronOlive deck, huh? Death by Troll. We are mid-range decks. We're really not designed to play against control decks like this. Not a heck of a lot we can do to improve the matchup other than our 6 sideboard cards. Hullbreaker seems like it would be pretty good. Would allow us to endlessly bounce the approach. Fury. Sure. Get our Freezing Flame down. And we'll cast Bearer and Iteration, and there's nothing left to do. Got the best card he could get on 4. Not great for us. Not great for us. Blue. Leave a blue up. Glimpse. Probably getting board wiped here. Now I think we just play Rime Wall and Abrade a key. Wow, maximum ham. Maximum ham. Yeah. Destroy one of these. And So if we find a piece of removal, if we find a squash, with iteration we can win. A squash or an abrade. Damn it. Batterskull doesn't do it. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Man, if we had a man land right now, I think we could win. Really frustrating. And we know that's Doomscar. Quakebringer to hand wash the thing. And counterspell activated. Cool. You got one. Woo! That was cool. Man, wishing I had more braids, huh? 2 braids is not enough of braids for how much I need a braid. But I felt like that was reasonable. It was pretty okay. For as slow as we were, they were just as slow. Going to 3 Saffron. It's not often you get to randomly be recording when you run into a celebrity player. Kind of cool. I mean, I have been on a pro tour. I've played with BBD and Reed and, you know, a few people. That was fun. Mostly getting murdered by them. I'm happy to have Hermit on 2 here. Hullbreaker Horror in the opening is basically just a mulligan at this moment. Eventually. Fan of the Bugbear is awesome, of course. For a deck that's mostly Sweeper Tribal. Drop right on time. Pretty awesome. Ouch. Ouch. Really good one to exile. It's both sides. Gosh, we're flooding. Super flooded. Wow, right on curve, man. We are in trouble, in a lot of trouble. Only 16 land left in our 50, by the way. Oh boy. Braid would be great. I think we're just gonna Shatter Skull smashing the Apprentice, and it's another land. That's unfortunate. Yeesh. Yeesh. Very hard to win a game where you're flooding out this hard. On 3 spells, I believe. Yep. 3 spells. I don't think this does anything. But we don't need to play it out yet. We can play it out next turn. Probably best to just do this. Ow. Did not expect that. Okay, so Doomscar on board. Make sure he plays around us top deck in a Malevolent Hermit this time. Oh my god! Oh, why? Why are you doing this to me? Oh no. Oh man. That sucks so much. That sucks so much. Alright. Teleportation circle. Oh, sure. He gets to get infinite spells. Yeah, that's pretty gross. Well, infinite powerful spells. I guess he is having to discard a card every time he does that, which is something. But all the cards in this, those are just so insanely powerful. Couple hermits. Play this out as a land likely, and slap down a hermit and cross our fingers. Slightly better. Really being punished for the one turn we decided to not play that. Okay. Sure. Cool. We won. Hey. Well, that's a pretty interesting deck, Saffron. I will have to check out the Twitch stream or the YouTube video on that later, just so I can see it from your side. I hope you're recording, and if not, that'll be a bummer, but still pretty cool to play a game with the SaffronOlive. I've been Gravity Groove for Bad Luck, Good Game, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. We're going to play a couple more Alchemy decks in the coming week, because we have a little extra time now. We're a little less creatively burdened. And if you dig them, you know, show them to some friends. Message me about them. Leave some comments. Any of that stuff would be helpful. You know, the algorithm just doesn't really help anyone anymore unless you spam keywords and unless you use sort of dishonest tactics, and you kind of gotta cheat to win now, and I'm really not into that. It's just not my thing. So if you could help me out, that would be very cool. Also, you know, I do have a book. Check out in the link below, among other ways to potentially support me. And once again, thanks for watching, and I hope you had fun. Later. Boom.